What is up, YouTube? What I'm talking about right now is first aid kits. And super common question that I get in every single class is, what should I put inside of my kits? The issue though is how much of this stuff do we bring? Because when we talk about first aid, it encompasses a ton of different injuries, illnesses, variety of topics, and everything sounds like a good idea because honestly it is. It's a difficult thing to do to be able to pick what should go where, especially when we have other competing priorities. So the way that we are layering this is the same way we layer most of our other preparedness genres, which is in the pillars of preparedness. So we have our everyday carry, we have mobility, and we have our homestead. And that changes what we're going to carry and how much we're going to carry. First and foremost, we start off with everyday carry. What everyday carry first aid items do you have? I'm willing to bet that most of them probably revolve around trauma items, especially if that's probably what you're posting on Instagram. The issue with everyday carry is we have so many other competing priorities. We have firearms, we have our spare mag, we have our tourniquet, we have flashlights, we've got our knives. And what that doesn't leave us a whole lot of space for is being able to address the wide variety of injuries, illnesses, things that we're going to come in contact with. So you have to start asking yourself very direct questions about what am I most likely to encounter, and just stick with that. That's a good rule of thumb. What have I encountered in the past a whole lot, or what am I most likely to encounter in the future based off who you are, what your activities are, which I can't guess. Moving on beyond that, we have mobility. And mobility should be a huge increase in our capability. We should be able to upgrade our circumstance a whole heck of a lot with mobility. This is what we're going to keep inside of our vehicles, car, boat, whatever your method of transportation might be. Ideally, it is something that can fit a whole lot of stuff because we might not have a whole bunch of stuff away from our vehicle, but when we get to our vehicle, we should be able to handle and take care of a whole lot. This is where we would start covering the wide range of different topics. Everything from the emergencies of CPR or what, even whatever Mylar trauma blankets and things like that might be. Environmental considerations of hot and cold weather injuries. Worried about all of the burns or cuts, things that are common even around being simply around vehicles, even basic medications where, how often does someone ask you, hey, do you have any Tylenol or Motrin or whatever the case is, and you have to go to your vehicle. Tools and devices, our vehicle should be full of plenty of those that just increase what our capability might be for dealing with first related things. Even basic stuff of, I don't have a flashlight maybe on me, but there's one inside of my car, and that's an already upgrade in our circumstance of being able to handle situations inside of the dark. So mobility is a general introduction, by the way, too. When we get to our vehicles, we should be starting to treat even some illnesses, not just injuries. And that is already a widening of what we're going to be capable of with just outside of our vehicles. Don't forget things like sprains and strains, fractures, being able to splint and being able to stabilize whatever those injuries. That way we can try to prevent further injury, moving on and transporting from A to B. That's the other thing that we do on our mobility platforms is transport. Homestead is where our capability should absolutely just explode. We're not limited to capacity very much. We should have tons of storage for the variety of circumstances that we're going to come across. I shouldn't be limiting my first aid items because I'm worried about the Christmas lights or the Halloween decorations. What we should be able to move past and address is a whole bunch of the illnesses and really all of the injuries that we're going to come across or that we could come across, and make good informed decisions. Having things like diagnostic tools, having a stethoscope, a thermometer, even a pulse oximeter, these types of things inside of our homes are just going to give us good information that are going to hopefully save us trips. Should I go to the ER? Should I not? How fast should I go to the ER? These are important things that we'll generally want to be able to gather. The other big question for Homestead is how long? How long am I going to be able to stay self-sustained? If I have a family member or a friend who injures themselves and maybe I'm responsible for their changing of dressings or care over the course of a couple days, then I want to be thinking about how much doing those dressing changes is going to deplete my resources. The more storage you allocate for these first aid items, the longer you'll be able to maintain your situation inside of your house. And generally, we talk about things like viruses. 7 to 10 days is when you're going to be treating the symptoms. So do I have enough medications to get me through 7 to 10 days? These types of things. Without having my resources completely diminished. The last principle that I want to leave you with when it comes to first aid kits is organization. Everything sounds like a good idea, and generally it is, but we are limited by capacity, and our capacity is going to be dictated by how much organization we have inside of a kit. So, when I'm picking out first aid kits and when I'm looking at different things, I want good organization and I want generally, clear divisible containers that I can easily go to and pick the things that I'm going to need, and I don't have to go rummaging or searching through a whole bunch of random containers and compartments. I want to quickly be able to go to things, and if I have loose items, those are generally going to become scattered about when I go to use kits. You open it up, maybe even in a little bit of a hurry, and stuff starts falling out. You're going to limit the size of your first aid kit based off of its capacity for organization. And that's the final tip that I'll leave you with for building your first aid kit. If you want to have more in-depth conversations about each of these levels or pillars of preparedness, head on over to the Fieldcraft Survival app, and we will have much more in-depth conversations about what we can pack inside of these kits and how we should do it. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.